if you had to get 3 tips, I think we can go. I think this is a good format. Like every time we end, we give like
3 tips. Okay.
Not 3 tips, but like last time we did the Will Smith.
Yeah.
If you're in Will Smith's position, I think we pose a question that we can both answer and give some insights on. If you had to give 3 tips to get attention, what would they be?
3 tips to get
garner attention, because you're very good at getting attention.
Right.
You do it in your own way. What would your best 3 tips be?
Well, for what is it, like positive attention, negative attention, or just
in general,
attention across the board?
Dylan Dennis, he had a lot of negative attention.
Okay.
But now he makes money off of it. So, what is your 3 tips for attention?
Well, for one, I would say be a provocateur. Be
what does
in a
that mean?
situation that you can now, you kind of like, I don't want to say poke the bear, but being a provocateur, you're in a situation where you say things that now elicit an emotion straight out of somebody.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So it's not like I'm being very pretentious, not necessarily even keel,
yeah,
or kind of just on the fence about things. I'll say something that now gets you like jumping, like, oh, depression isn't real. Immediately, I'm now poking at something.
Trigger people,
so you get trigger individuals. So you can be a provocateur that can bring you either, it's gonna be extreme views for the most part, but you're gonna get a lot of attention. Like there's a ton of people who on Twitter who, if now that they're paying, they get paid off of engagement. They just write a bunch of random things,
right?
You know, so you can be a provocateur. I think that's number one. That'd be tip number one as it pertains to getting more attention. Number 2, put yourself, out there. Try new things. Get in front of new audiences and expose yourself to new different things. Like, let's just say if your background is in you're a chef or something like that. Traditionally, we're our chefs inside of the kitchen. Now you could try to do different things to get attention. Why not go to somewhere like a Nevada?
Well, if you look at Gordon Ramsay, he gets attention that way too.
Right. Inside, but then he also is that of a provocateur with the show. Yeah. To where now you talk to people in such a high, tone that can immediately people who's watching like, what the hell, you talking to who? Like what? And now you've watched all the seasons of Hell Kitchen, So you could be a provocateur. 2, you can now put yourself in a situation where you're doing things, you relocate or you do different sort of things. So let's just say if you're a chef, rather than constantly being inside of the kitchen, you could try outlandish things. Why not go to somewhere like Nevada, in the summer where it's 110 outside? Cook outdoors, use the damn sun or something like that. That can immediately, somebody, oh, what's going on? That's something completely different, changes the dynamic. And then lastly, pay for attention. Pay for attention, whether it's running paid advertisements, paying other individuals to aid you and get your stuff out there or get yourself out there. So I'd say those are the 3. Provocateur, that's on your own volition. You literally can just go and say outlandish things. 2, try something outside of the box. And then 3, enlist somebody else through payment in order to go and get that attention. Those would be my 3 tips.
That's a good one. I think if I had to go 3, I think the first one, and it's kind of similar to what you said, but I think the first one, you have to have your own views.
Right.
I think part of the reason, when you look at anyone, whether it's political commentators, whether it's fighters, whether it's anyone, a lot of the people that get attention is because they have their own views and they stick with it. They have concrete views. When you're kind of like an NPC type character where you have none of your own views and you like whatever other people like, you don't become a leader, you become a follower. And when you're a follower, people don't want to follow a follower.
Right.
They want to follow leaders, and the only time you get leaders is if you have someone that speaks their mind. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a chiseled honest word. Unabashedly. If someone speaks their mind unabashedly, right? You have a Kanye West. Dude says whatever the fuck he wants. He has concrete views, and because of that, he gets a lot of attention, right? So I think you have to have concrete views, regardless of what your genuine worldview. You have the concrete views that you refuse to compromise on. Because if you compromise on your beliefs, then you're just an NPC, and people don't want to follow followers. Right. They want to pay attention to the people that are moving the world forward, and those are the people with their own views. And that's why people listen to political commentators. They listen to people that are extreme on one side or the other, and it almost builds like a cult-like following. Right. So you garner a lot of attention like that. By having your own views and your own identity, it separates you, and people are like, I want to pay attention to this guy, because this is someone I want to be like. So I think 1 is you have to have your concrete views. That you refuse to compromise on. 2, I think there has to be like an air of relatability. Okay. There has to be an air of relatability in the sense that, like, you do a really good job of it. And I think in the beginning, it's because you were living it. Now that you have a little bit more money, you still are very relatable. You know, you don't ever like do any rich dude shit. You're always like, yeah, man, don't you hate when you like, you know, comedians do it really well. It's like Kevin Hart, don't you hate when you have to wait in line at Disneyland? It's like, we know for damn well you don't do this.
Right.
You know? But they build like a sense of relatability, and because of that, you can get a lot of attention. Because big thing you see on social media now, it's if someone shares a story, hey, here's my journey with alopecia.
Right.
Everyone with alopecia is now watching you because they're
right.
like, oh, this person is relatable. I can relate to their story. I can share it. The reason I've been able to build a social media following is like, hey, here's how I went from being broke to making millions of dollars on social media. And people are like, wow, I could relate to him when he was broke, and it gives them hope, right? It's like a sense of inspiration. So I think relatability is big because people are curious on what that's like. I think having concrete views, and I think the third one is doing something that's hard to replicate. The harder it is to replicate, the more attention you are going to get. And I realize this. I tell people all the time, like, hey, Renee, how do I go viral on TikTok? I'm like, put more effort in, make it hard to replicate.
Right.
Because these people that post content.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. These people that post content that are easy to replicate, there's hundreds of you. So you're not special. I'm not gonna pay attention to you. Mr. Beast, before he was Mr. Beast, because now it's impossible to replicate him.
Right.
But even in the past, you go all the way back, his videos were impossible to replicate because he would be like, saying Logan Paul 100,000 times.
Yeah.
Who is gonna do that? No one.
Right.
Difficult to replicate. Guess what? That's kind of what propelled him into the Mr. Beast of now.
Right, because even there's a channel, I don't know if he's Russian, German, I forget. All I know is he's European. He copies literally everything. He's Russian.
Mr. Beast,
copies everything that Mr. Beast does, but it's the same thing. You're a carbon copy of the original. So your entire existence is based off of what Mr. Beast does.
But again, it's hard to replicate, so he's still getting views.
Yeah, exactly.
No one, if anyone could do Mr. Beast things, it wouldn't be special anymore.
Correct.
But the harder you are to replicate, and it could be in any facet, right? Like your content is very hard to replicate because no one can talk like you. I can try my best, but I'm not going to be as successful as the original. So if you have concrete views and you believe in things and you refuse to compromise, if you are relatable and you are hard to replicate, there's only going to be one of you. And because of that, all of the attention is going to go to you because no one else can be you.
Right.